Professor Kriti Ramanathan is the chair professor and dean in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at IIT Mumbai. He has completed his PhD in computer science from the University of Uttara. His research explores timeliness and consistency issues in computer systems and distributed applications. His recent work addresses these issues in the context of dynamic data in sensor networks, embedded systems, and mobile environments. During the last few years, he has been interested in the use of information and communication technologies for creating tools aimed at socio-economic development. He is fellow of IEEE, ACM, and the Indian National Academy of Engineering. I now request Professor Kriti to deliver the address. Sir.
Very good morning to all of you, and on behalf of all of my colleagues and fellow researchers at IIT Bombay, I would like to extend a warm welcome to this event. This has been in the planning stage for a number of months now, so for all of us who have been working on this project at the center, this is a wonderful occasion to see people who almost seem like relatives, since we work very close together. As Dr. Ramakrishnan has already given you a preview of where we started, I'll sort of only fill in the gaps where I think there's a need to. In the interest of time, I'll just finish in about 10-15 minutes, focusing on some of our contributions to this research and training center. It all actually started in 2001 when the government of India decided to establish a company called Media Lab Asia. CEO of that company today is Dr. Goswami, and Dr. Bhatia is also here, who belongs to this. We were asked to look at ICT for development as an area for IIT to pick up and convert its contributions in the technology area into artifacts that people can use and make sense of for development purposes, adding to the livelihood opportunities and so on. So in fact, our foray into this goes back even before DGF approached us to write a proposal for it. The three projects that Media Lab Asia funded were, one was called Agro Explorer. It's basically a search engine for agriculture documents. And second one was called Interfaces for All, understanding that interfaces required for Indian communities is very different from that for the West, given our literacy levels and so on. This was supposed to be a project that will look at all the facets of interfaces, starting from keyboards all the way through touch screens and so on. The third one was a project called Polysensors, where we were looking at using conducting polymers as the substrate for water quality measurement. In fact, some of the artifacts coming out of this Aqua, which was mentioned before, and Polysensors are being exhibited in the hall down there. So I want to first of all credit Media Lab Asia for taking us into this area. And in 2001, late 2001, there was a call for proposals from DGF, which we responded to because there's a lot of work going on in IIT, which was developing research results, which we thought would be packaged and converted into tangible artifacts. It's a good opportunity. The R&D Center, if you remember, Ramki, was inaugurated with a lot of fanfare in Bangalore in September 2002. I think the Ashoka Hotel, if I remember correctly. Pramod Mahajan was the person there behind it. Money came in about 6 to 9 months later, and then we started work. It's important to understand that the mission is exactly what any NGO or any organization would have if it is involved in ICT for development. Cutting edge applied research, development and training. Training was an important component of the center. Looking at digitally impoverished communities, in developing countries. And then we later found out that even in developed countries there are digitally impoverished communities which can benefit from these results. The technology domains that we were contributing to were two: internet and database technologies and language technologies, where there was also presence from CDAC, and CDAC was also looking at speech technologies. Of course, you can't develop the technologies in a vacuum, so we were focusing on applications in education and agriculture, and health was something that CDAC was also contributing to. The primary focus was the following: we all depend on the web for information, and knowledge society and all that is the mantra of the day. Can we make this also have an impact on the inner cities, inner towns, inner villages of India? And for this, we have to have a better way to handle information, multilingual, heterogeneous in nature, in a way that is capable of catering to Indian conditions. Connectivity is a problem. Interfaces, like I mentioned before, are not conducive to consumption by semi-literate and illiterate people. Access devices are very small, computers being a good example. So these are some of the areas we were focusing on. And the way to put it was to simply make the web and internet less dumb. It's still dumb today. Make it less dumb by having a way by which to have content that is multilingual, certain accesses which are relevant in the language of interest to the community, more precise for the domain of interest, and develop dissemination algorithms which were not monolithic. The standard algorithms for disseminating or moving information from point A to point B are still the fat pipe. If the pipe is not fat, then you are at the losing end as a consumer. So basically, most of the technology developed earlier, and even today for the most part, leaves India and other developing countries behind. So we want to bridge the gap, and the challenges were that we have a large number of languages and communities. The data search technique and dissemination techniques were inappropriate. And of course, communication facilities like Ramki mentioned. Hope it's okay to call you Ramki. The bandwidth is a problem. Computing infrastructure is always wanting. Power is a problem, and so on and on. So what we decided was to focus on 4 topics, which, as it turns out, were areas we were already looking at, and saw a nice match between what was being produced as research results and the needs of the artifacts that were required to be deployed. Now, all of you probably know that 90% of the world now depends on Yahoo and Google, right? So if a farmer goes to Google, let's say, he happens to be lucky enough to be close to a kiosk or an internet connection, he types wheat problems or wheat rust, he'll probably get an answer in English 99% of the time, and in a way that he can't use the solution being provided by the search results. Tables, in documents, free-flowing documents containing tables, and on. So we want to have a technique for heterogeneous data handling so that even highly disparate legacy sources could be accommodated. Once you have the data, once you've identified the sources, you have to take the data from the sources to the end users. So this is dissemination at its core. So we had to look at the client device limitations, the bandwidth limitations along the way, so that we can not only collect the data but also disseminate it, give it to the user in a form that can be digested. And finally, the device itself will have memory requirements, memory constraints, and so we want to develop open source infrastructure for database management. I'm very glad to say that all of these have resulted in artifacts which are currently available in open source. And to make this very specific, we started to look at agriculture and education as the domains of this course. Now, Aqua is a platform for creating content from ground up. Aqua stands for almost all questions answered. And almost is added after as an afterthought because we decided that we can't be that presumptuous about our capabilities. So the idea is very simple. How do you create content? You can collect documents from libraries and put it together. It might never get read. Or you can make the community itself create the content for you. That's where things started here. It's a simple portal, it's a discussion forum at its core. So people ask questions, experts answer. There's a dialogue that happens between the customer and the expert. Over a period of time, you collect a lot of information about that particular question. It becomes a document which is vetted by experts and users alike. You can post pictures and so on. I welcome you to visit our exhibit outside. So the nice thing is that the content is domain specific, language specific, area specific, problem specific. So it becomes a very useful set of documents over a period of time. And because problems recur seasonally or yearly, over a period of time, all the questions will have answers in the document base for you to use. So it's a very nice platform. And the problem that we found was that there are a number of technical questions. Diversity of documents, languages, disseminating information. For example, video clips have to be sent over a small bandwidth link. You have to worry about the bandwidth, converting, transporting, all that comes in. So most of the techniques we're developing in the vacuum, in the labs, could be put to use on this platform. So in fact, it's a misnomer to call Aqua a forum by itself. It's now become a digital library, multilingual, searchable, distributed, and multimodal. So it's web-based, archived, searchable, and multilingual, and a lot more than that. Now the problem was that even with bandwidth being there, it's not dependable. You have bandwidth available for a portion of the day. So when a farmer goes to a kiosk and wants to ask a question, if the connectivity is not there, he'll go back empty-handed and never to come back to a kiosk again. So how do we repair this situation? So that allowed us to, or forced us to develop something called mobile Aqua or offline Aqua. The idea is very simple. If you start your local content on your PC with a CD, which is a current snapshot of Aqua content, and questions are posed locally, stored locally. Whenever there's connectivity, you establish connectivity, download the content which has been updated at the backend, upload the questions, and the thing continues onwards. So you have to synchronize occasionally, and the bandwidth requirements become that much less over a period of time. This has actually been deployed over a large number of kiosks, and the benefits have been very palpable. So to do all this, we have to have a large outreach. We can't work in the labs alone. And as Dr. Ramkrishnan mentioned, we have to work with NGOs, end users, corporate sector, BGF of course, MLAsia, and the government, and expert organizations. In our case, we've been very fortunate to have the experts from KVK, Kishore Vijnan Kendra Baramati, which is an extension organization. All we did was to give them the tools of the trade to make their bandwidth, time go farther. And we'll have an opportunity to listen to Dr. Kader Bhai tomorrow. She is the director of KVK Baramati. So what I mentioned earlier as 4 technologies are enabling technologies, and Aqua is an end-to-end solution which incorporates these technologies. In addition to technology development and incorporating that into Aqua, we've been doing training. In fact, DGS supported part of our distance education program, through which IIT Classroom goes outside the 4 walls of IIT to about a dozen centers today through satellite interactive distance education. People can ask questions online and get them answered as and when they are being asked. Through this, we have offered courses, workshops, training modules, and so on. And also have the ability to attract students to do summer projects and post projects, as well as year-long BTech projects, for example, to produce open source content, both software as well as documents. We've also enabled user communities to become more savvy about IT. Today, for example, internet connectivity is improving, but not at the same pace as cell phone connectivity. Quite often, somebody has the funds to buy a cell phone, but doesn't know how to use it. They receive SMS messages over a period of time, the memory fills up, that's the end of the story. So we're actually running even training classes for rural populations to understand how to use a cell phone. And today, ARPA can be accessed through SMS messages, both for questions to be sent to this backend server and getting the response back. CDAX projects, Ramki already mentioned, so I'll skip that here. One important contribution that I think this particular effort has made is that they've had a course that goes on for about a semester at IIT, which is a master's level course on ICT for development. This actually has been very satisfying personally for me, because it's brought to IIT students not only technology but also how to make use of it for the masses. I think if I remember correctly, Arun Mehta was a speaker of one of these classes. Right? So we make use of people who come through Bombay, make them come to the class, talk to the students. And I have students who say that their stay in IIT has been worth it just because of this course. Otherwise, they have become technologists before and then not have a notion of how to apply that to our own problems. The rest of it, Ramki has covered already. Through the distance mode, we've had courses on databases, data mining, embedded systems, VLSI, how to use open source tools, how to construct them, how to put it together, internet technologies, DSP, mobile wireless technologies. And in fact, just 2 days ago, we had a workshop on the internet and the convergence of various technologies coming together as we go forward. And even course in energy management has been taken through the distance medium. And I would urge you to look at the portal that Ramki introduced to you, because it's a storehouse of knowledge about not only what we have done as part of the center, both of CDAC and IIT Bombay, but also it's essentially a one point of entry into all the activities in the ICT for development area. So I'll stop with that. I just want to make a few remarks. So this has been very satisfying for me, as I mentioned before, not only because we have applied our technologies, but also when you look at a real world problem, you get new problems to solve in the lab. And over the last 3-4 years, we have produced about 100 plus papers in top quality conferences and journals. And so the students also are happy that what they do is helpful not only to go out of IIT and get a good job, but also to make a small impact, but important impact on the community that they come from. So as a result of this exercise, supported by Media Lab Asia as well as DGF, we now have a stable lab called the Development and Informatics Lab at IIT Bombay, where informatics for development is the focus. We do cutting-edge database research, which is also applied at the same time. It was actually quite amusing when Dr. Montek Singh Alwalia visited the lab when he came for a convocation last year, and he said, I didn't realize IIT was involved in socially relevant work. So that itself was worth working this area for a number of years now. In the education area, there will be a talk tomorrow by Dr. Ananthakrishnan. Is he here? I haven't seen him this morning. He's part of a lab. That work is being funded by Media Lab Asia, but he's as part of the development informatics lab's work. Also, Pan Asia is an organization based in Singapore, which has been very helpful to our larger goals, because they allow us to go beyond the borders of India and apply some of our results in other parts of the country, other countries as well. Finally, I want to mention that there's going to be another more technical conference in December in Bangalore. It's called ICT for Development, ICT 4D. It's the second edition of something that started last year in Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley. The dates are 14 through 16. So you may want to mark your calendars to keep the devotees available to attend the conference. So overall, it's been a wonderful experience, and we look at this as a starting point and not the ending point. Even though the project is supposed to end of this month, we were talking earlier about how this has brought a number of people together, creating a critical mass of workers who are committed, have a passion for the area, and also users who believe in these technologies and the artifacts developed. So now I think we have the core group of people all put together, and this is a good example, good reflection of that, the numbers that are present here today. So look forward to working with more of you. Many familiar faces in the audience, but I would like to be in a position to talk to even more of you during the next 2 days. Thank you very much.